In today's news, 111 additional samples tested negative for COVID-19 in the BVI. Thankfully, no additional cases have been reported.
BVI receives 55,000 medical supplies from the United Kingdom. All this and more when 284 News returns.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Welcome everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. I am Kyla Kinisha Forbes.
And I'm Ron Grant. A terrific Tuesday to each and every one of you. We're joining you live from the beautiful British Virgin Islands, of course, here in Nature's Little Secrets.
Most definitely, Ron, I feel like September is full speed ahead.
And definitely, and of course it's hurricane season. We have, of course, the prominent cases of the weather updates that have been across the territory, and of course the region which we're keeping persons informed of. And additionally, it's back to school time.
Yeah.
This time, believe it or not, it's going to be full online instructions. The Minister for Education and Culture, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley, is actually scheduled to make some remarks on the actual opening of the school season later this evening at 8 p.m.
Ron, I think all parents will be locked into those remarks in about 2 hours, because I think parents and students are full speed ahead, ready for this upcoming school semester. But a lot has to be done. As you said, we are fully virtual now, so we're definitely looking out for updates there. And of course, viewers, as that information becomes available, 284 News will be on it.
Now, in addition to that, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, they are just advising the administration that the public, the administration building for the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, they resume services to the public as of today. So persons, of course, you're encouraged to do business online or via telephone, but if you have to visit the administration office at the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, you can do so. And COVID-19 vaccine is the latest in the White House campaign. Believe it or not, this is a topic that's continuing to be of paramount importance as persons continue to look forward to a vaccine, which some say is a closure to this very daunting pandemic. And of course, the California wildfires continue to wreak havoc in the state of California. But of course, those are just our summary headlines, and we're going to get right into our local newscast this evening. Minister for Health and Social Development, the Honorable Carvin Malone, through a Government Information Services release, has reported no additional COVID-19 cases have been reported, as 111 additional samples tested negative for COVID-19 virus. This comes after the last COVID-19 update by the Health Minister on Friday, September 4th, 2020. The 111 additional samples were collected on September 5th and 6th at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital in Tortola, BVI. Now, territory-wide, viewers, this brings the total number of persons tested to 3,824, with 3,761 negatives. The BVI's epidemiological summary as of September 7th remains as 52 active out of a total of 63 COVID-19 cases reported as positive, with the 10 recoveries and 1 unfortunate death. The minister further reported that the Ministry of Health and Social Development continues to aggressively contact the tracing of strategy in accordance with the BVI, or the World Health Organization, technical guidelines, which we've been following for quite some time. Now, in addition to that, the Joint Task Force of Her Majesty's Customs, of course, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, and the Immigration Department, together with the newly instituted Social Distancing Monitoring Task Force established under the Ministry of Health and Social Development, will aggressively discharge their duties in observance of the border protection and health and safety protocols. Now, Honorable Malone continues to encourage the Virgin Islands community to report any illegal entry into the territory by contacting the telephone number 311. He said, and I quote, "If you see something, say something, and do your part. We will get through this together." Very powerful words, rather, by the Honorable Minister for Health. I think at the end of the day, Kyla, it is a community effort, and we all must join together and really speak up if we see something that's a little bit weird or unorthodox. The public is also reminded to continue to practice the necessary safety protocols, such as, of course, hand hygiene, cough etiquette, physical distancing, and of course the wearing of masks in public places. Persons who are experiencing symptoms related to COVID-19, including fever, or perhaps you just feel like you've been exposed for whatever reason, the symptoms remain: fever, cough, headache, fatigue, a loss of taste or smell, sore throat, muscle aches, or difficulty breathing. They're encouraged to contact the medical hotline at 852-7650 to schedule an appointment for testing. The fee has been waived except for persons resulting for traveling purposes. Now, of course, the issue of fees has been a paramount conversation,
Right.
but we want to reiterate to the general public that the fees are free unless you're traveling outside of the territory, and the territory that you are traveling to, whether it's your home country, requires you to have a test. That's the only instance where you should be paying for a COVID-19 test. But outside of that, if you feel like you've been exposed or family or relatives or friends around you have been exposed to the virus, you are encouraged to please continue to do your testing and contact the hotline.
Ron, at the end of the day, I want us to really reiterate and emphasize how much this is good news for the BVI.
It
Of
is.
course, we are not out of the woods yet, but we see where 2 consecutive days, 111 test results, and none of them came back positive. So we definitely have to
It's
be
good news,
thankful
yeah.
for that small win. And as Honorable Malone continue to say, and our authorities continue to say, if you see something, say something, because this is going to be a long fight. And I think everyone hands have to be in the ring for the BVI to become
course.
out victorious. So definitely a positive note to start on, and going into more positive news. Now, recently, the Rotary Club Sunshine of Rotown, Tortola BVI made a donation to Win BVI to support their Pantry Drive project to aid the Family Support Network. Now, the Family Support Network is the main organization in the BVI that provides food, clothing, and counseling to women, men, and children here in the British Virgin Islands. Now, this partnership demonstrates the collaboration of non-profit organizations and the Rotary Sunshine Club's commitment to serve their communities. Now, as you see in the picture, accepting the donation for Win BVI is Executive Member Luz Hodge-Smith, Director Elise Green, with President Kenesha Sprav of the Rotary Club Sunshine of Rotown. Ron, yet another amazing initiative coming out of the Rotary Club of Sunshine, but even more news coming out of Rotary. Also, the Rotary Club Sunshine of Rotown is having a story time every Sunday for the month of September. Now, this is in an effort to raise reading awareness, and so every Sunday a Rotarian will be joined on Facebook Live at Rotary Club Sunshine BVI every Sunday. So this also, you see where they're getting involved, yes, and getting the kiddos involved as well. But Ron, if you thought that this was the only thing that Rotary was doing, they have a jam-packed month. Also, I think you've heard of the Biz Pitch competition. This was something big last year. For the second time, they're hosting this once again. The Biz Pitch competition is hosted by the Rotary Club of Rotown. Now, all young, talented, and entrepreneurial secondary school students are invited to pitch a business idea in 90 seconds in a video and send it to the Rotary team by the 19th of September 2020. So that deadline is speedily approaching. So get that all together, and 2 lucky participants will then be chosen to pitch their idea at a networking social. Ron, I don't know if you've ever heard of the the TV show, The Shark Tank. Have
Of
you ever
course.
watched it?
Listen, I'm a huge fan of Shark Tank.
Listen, me too. I can binge it all day. So this is basically the forum that this will take, and these participants can pitch their ideas. And I think the BVI is just so full of innovation. So I'm definitely happy to see having the secondary students involved in this. And then lastly, also out of Rotary Club of Rotown, they're also hosting for the second time my favorite teacher competition. Now, Ron, we all know as students, you know, thinking back, we had that one teacher that was absolutely our favorite. So the Rotary Club of Rotown have come to realize that especially during these times, just the position that our teachers hold in our society and in the entire world. And students can submit an essay with no more than 300 words or a poem that describes how their teacher influenced their life. Both teacher and the student will be entered to win, and submissions are due by the 28th of September 2020. Winners will be announced on World Teachers Day on the 5th of October. But Ron, really and truly, we see where the entire Rotary family is still out there despite the pandemic. And I think that is really and truly what community service is. When your community really needs you, being out there full force, helping in any way that they can.
Most definitely. And I want to just make a quick correction, Kyla, as it pertains to the Rotary Sunrise Club, that is, a Rotary Sunrise Club of Tortola. And as you said, particularly, they've all been making an immense contribution to the territory of the Virgin Islands. We would just look back as recent as Hurricanes Irma, where we had a pledge and persons came to fruition and really sat down and really gave of their best to help persons not only in the BVI community, but also of recent in the Bahamas when it came to Hurricanes Dorian. So we want to really encourage persons to support the Rotary family, whether it's the Rotary Sunrise Club of Tortola, Rotary Club of Rotown, or Rotary Club of Tortola, that is, and be a part of your community, even perhaps if you're not a member of the club. We see where that corporate and non-for-profit, and I'll say this again, non-for-profit is very important, because oftentimes we look for the government of the Virgin Islands to kind of really push the mantle, but at the end of the day, it is imperative for non-for-profit community organizations and just persons who are have the benefit of the doubt to be able to assist, to lend a helping hand. And we see this, of course, once and for all with the Rotary Clubs of Tortola, all 4 of them, and we commend them for their very remarkable work.
Most definitely.
Now, still ahead, ladies and gentlemen, BVI received 55,000 medical supplies from the UK. We have all the details of what we received, all this and more, after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of it then. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Over there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. Continuing on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands, the Governor's Office, through a Government Information Services release, has confirmed that a shipment container consisting of medical supplies from the United Kingdom arrived in the British Virgin Islands on the week of September 4th, 2020. Now, the 40-foot container holds about 55,000 items, including personal protective equipment such as face masks, gowns, and gloves, which were received priority need in the BVI Health Services Authority and, of course, the Ministry of Health and Social Development. Now, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Irad Potter said that the supplies will help to strengthen the supply of the PPE available to healthcare professionals and the BVI Health Services Authority. This shipment is the latest in a string of deliveries sourced and funded by the United Kingdom government to support and assist the people of the BVI during, of course, this pandemic that is COVID-19. His Excellency, the Governor Augustus J.U. Jaspert, commended the shipment and said, stating, "This is a timely delivery that will enforce the crucial and greatly valued work being done by the Health Services Authority to tackle the virus. Whilst we all hope and pray the best, it's important that we are prepared to respond to COVID-19, and the UK's support has been integral in our preparations." Now, Dr. Ronald Georges, the Chief Executive Officer of the BVI Health Services Authority, said, and I quote, "We thank the UK for providing the additional PPE that will be used to help protect our staff and first responders in the territory's fight against COVID-19. Since the first shipment received in April 2020, the BVI has received over $1.4 million in medical supplies from the United Kingdom government. That includes, and I quote, test kits and swabs, personal protective equipment, lab and medical equipment such as laptops, thermometers, as well as a high-speed PCR testing machine. We have 5 ventilators and other medical items that include mobile beds and temporary isolation units." Now, the UK has also provided significant epidemiology advice and support to the British Virgin Islands. Additionally, health experts from the Public Health England and the BVI Health Services Authority have been consistently in communication with the authorities, Kyla, in the fight against COVID-19. I must admit that this, again, it's not the first contribution, and I'm sure it will not be the last. And we're most grateful and thankful here in the BVI as it pertains to the UK's assistance in the fight against COVID-19. But I wanna bring the public's awareness as it pertains to the UK's assistance, and I wanna make this clear. We seem to be very particular as it pertains to what type of services or what type of benefits we received or we continue to receive from the UK. Now, the governor. Yes, what we accept, okay? The Governor, Augustus J.U. Jaspert, in his remarks has said over time, at the end of the day, it's not something that we have to be forced upon. We've seen where the UK has assisted us in many instances. Most recently, if we will remember, they did offer assistance as it pertains to our border protection, which we seem to continue to struggle with. But for some reason, as it pertains to the fight against COVID-19, we are now accepting their help readily. But then we want to, at the end of the day, somehow push the mantra as it pertains to border protection. I just want to keep Virgin Islanders and residents a bit vigilant as it pertains to this level of help. At the end of the day, when we look at the key facts, and the facts are clear as day, it's up to us to whether or not we want to really admit it or not. But we cannot be so strategic and particular in the level of assistance that we receive, and at the end of the day say that we're not doing a very good job. Border protection and the fight against illegal immigrants, it's a different conversation, but it's a conversation that has come up constantly as we fight COVID-19, and it's one that's particularly been of paramount importance because it would appear rather that in the fight against COVID-19, the fight against illegal immigrants and persons illegally trying to enter the territory has come to the forefront. So the question begs, are we really and truly as a territory, perhaps as a government or elected members, what is our priority? I want to bring that to the forefront of our residents here in the BVI.
Most definitely, and Ron, even more so as we tackle just a few points that you mentioned just a while ago. Transitioning into this next story, we see where the leader of opposition and the representative for the 8th electoral district, as we know, Honorable Marlon Penn, you, Ron, had an opportunity yesterday to sit down with him, and a few things were covered in that interview. I must say, great interview to you and Honorable Penn. but he really zoned in and he really spoke about, our healthcare system and testing here in the territory, especially in this recent climate. Now, Honorable Marlon Penn suggested that the government conduct community testing in areas that we see clusters of the virus and where they have been discovered. Let's listen into this clip.
And the issue of testing, we have to figure out how can we bring comfort to the people of this territory. So if there are clusters in Huntum's Gut, clusters in East End and all over the place, we probably need to test those entire areas like we did at Jasper Dyke, as we did in Anegada, to ensure that there's some certainty in what the numbers are like, and you bring some comfort to persons who are worried right now based on the numbers that were being thrown out in terms of how many cases that we have. You need to do more testing. And I take the example of Cayman, I take the example of Bermuda. Cayman has tested over 30,000 plus persons. Bermuda the same in the range of those numbers. Now Bermuda Cayman has fully opened their internal economy. Totally opened the economy because there's certainty in the current situation on the ground. That certainty brings comfort. It brings comfort not just to the persons on the ground, but it brings comfort to the business community, locally and regionally.
Ron, as you may remember yesterday, Honorable Marlon Penn basically speaking to the fact that maybe we should be doing testing in these communities because it would give a certain level of certainty in the territory pertaining to where we are at with COVID-19. And really recently in a COVID-19 press conference, earlier this month, the health minister disclosed that cases have been discovered on Tortola in the areas of Huntum's Gut, Lower Estate, Long Bush, King Garden Bay, Hannah's Purcell Estate, Fat Hogs Bay, Seek House Bay, Lambert Estate, and Road Town, with primary and secondary contacts further dispersed throughout other communities on the eastern and western end of the island of Anegada. And now, Ron, when you really look at it, this is essentially at least 85% of our population if we were to test these communities, which is possible because we just heard about the UK assisting the territory and sending more supplies. So that definitely supplements and gives us that ability to maybe do this testing. But understandably so, this would give the population a sense of certainty and clarity and definitely will paint a better picture of where we're at with COVID-19 within our shores. But now, Ron, and as you were speaking about earlier, this is not a foolproof plan simply because of our constant fight with smuggling and the protection of our borders, which is a topic that we have been speaking about for weeks. So really and truly, we see where, and Honorable Penn made a really good point about strengthening when it comes to testing and the certainty that it would give, especially for our business community, because we definitely want to get back out there and at least open internally. And also, he spoke to another point, which he spoke to strengthening our healthcare here in the BVI. So viewers, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, we have an unfortunate cluster of cases now, Ron, that has happened just recently. For the last 2 weeks, we've jumped from 8 cases to some 60 some odd cases, which is almost a 700% increase in less than 2 weeks. And it speaks to the fact that we have to strengthen our health protocols. And I want to commend the government and the health officials for the work they were doing previously. They did a good job early on managing the crisis. I know it's very difficult and there's a strain on the limited resources that they have. But we have to be more efficient. We have to get efficient in terms of the process and figure out how can we put things in place to ensure that there's health security for people. In particularly, how can we include the private sector? How can we include the private doctors, the private clinics, and ensure that they support the process to help ease the burden off of the Health Services Authority and their personnel? So there needs to be that partnership right now in terms of how we could work collectively to.
So Ron, once again, we see where Honorable Penn basically speaks to the strengthening of our healthcare system. Of course, our health team have been doing all that they can, but here we see him suggesting an all-hands-in approach with our public and private medical physicians and clinics and companies basically having a hands-on approach. So we see where the leader of the opposition is giving some suggestions towards how can we continue to move forward with COVID-19, because as we know and we continue to talk about it, yes, lockdowns and curfews are some sense of helping the situation, and that's why we have 111 negative, but we have that concern of our business and economy, and you're going to speak a little bit about that even further.
Of course. Now, one area of importance addressed in that very same interview included the issue of small businesses and the immense struggle faced by business owners all across the territory. Viewers, take a look.
As you know, Ron, the COVID-19 pandemic is a fluid situation. It's something that we in the Virgin Islands have been grappling with, along with all countries globally. And it has put a significant strain, more particularly on small businesses throughout the global economy. As you know, small businesses are the drivers of our economy, and we have to ensure that we are maintained to ensure they keep businesses running and keep the livelihood of persons intact. As you know, we had an initial shutdown in March of this year, and that has taken a toll on the business sector in this territory, especially the tourism sector, which has been closed since March. We have many businesses who've been struggling to maintain their operations. The ones who were allowed to open been unable to keep their complement of staff. They've been paying staff at quarter salary in some instances, and it's created significant strain on their businesses. One of the things that we put out in the 18th of May was a suggestion to the government in terms of economic strategic plan and economic vision for moving the country forward in the lights of COVID-19. Later on, the government made their announcement of their economic plan, which was on May 28th, and it outlined some benefits for small businesses, which we already suggested in our plan. The unfortunate thing, Ron, is 6 months later, from since the announcement of their plan, about 3 months later, businesses have not gotten that relief in terms of small businesses, and a lot of those businesses are struggling. I've gotten calls from business owners who are saying, look, we cannot continue to carry this weight. It's very difficult on us. We've been trying to keep our employees going, but it's putting a strain on our businesses. You have employees who are struggling, who haven't gotten a salary for 6 months. They've been trying to get support from the income support program. Many of them have been unable to get that support, and it's a continuous strain on the economy. One of the things that I've been continually saying, Ron, is that in the face of COVID-19, as a territory, as a people, we have to learn how to coexist with COVID-19. So we have to develop a strategy and a plan to ensure that we, as a territory, the businesses and the public, can coexist with COVID-19, because we cannot continue to shut down the territory every time we get cases of COVID-19.
That was the leader of the Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition. Now, Kyla, recently in a televised interview, leader of government business, the Honorable Andrew A. Foy, stated that persons who keep echoing his government does not have a plan for the territory during the COVID-19 pandemic are simply being deceitful. He said these persons are fully aware of how fluid the nature of COVID-19 is, and with that factor in mind, it is not his government's interest to prematurely release all their plans at once, since they are likely subject to change. Now, Premier Foy said, and I quote, "We have a plan for the phase 2 with the persons coming in, whether work permit, etc. We had a plan that was projected for and the 1st of November dealing with the economy, and we didn't even get to that aspect of it because we were going to bring out that just last week, and everything started to unravel." He continued by saying, "The plans we had last week, we don't have this week. We had to readjust. The plans we had a week before that, we had to readjust. The ultimate plan is very simple. We want to make sure that we reopen the borders eventually. We were aiming for the 1st of November. We had all our plans set up." Those were the words of Honorable Premier. Now, in response to those statements and the absence of a physical plan yet to be presented, and of course, as the Honorable Minister said, even being a minister of government, even though he's not a part of the government, he is an elected official, the opposition members still feel as though they're left out of the planning phase. So this is what he had to say in reference to the Premier's comments. Take a look.
Around those comments are unfortunate because that's the whole point of a plan. A plan is to have something that is fluid, and particularly in a fluid situation like COVID-19. Businesses are something that cannot just act on a whim. Businesses have to plan their resources, they have to plan their infrastructural development, their human resource development, and they need time to do those things and put those things in place. So if you share with them what your thinking is and what your vision is for opening up the territory, what is required of them as a business to be able to facilitate whatever your health protocols are, then they could plan towards doing what they do best is being a business and doing the things to drive the economy and drive the economic engine.
Viewers, that was a leader of the opposition, the Honorable Marlon Penn. And of course, as the territory continues to maneuver through COVID-19, we have lots in store for you, but we are out of time on Ron Grant, and it's absolutely a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
And I am Kyla Kinisha. Of course, much more news here at 284 News. So you can check out our website. But that is it for today, viewers. Have a good evening.
Happy Tuesday, guys. Bye-bye.